So once we configure all the details in application.properties file, let's go ahead and let's create a JPA entity for student management application. So the JPA entity in our case is student. So right click on entity package, new, and then choose class, and let's give JPA entity name as student, and let's define the properties inside this class, that is private long id, and then private string first name, private string last name, and one more is private string email. So to keep it simple, I added only these 4 fields, but make sure that you will add the fields in a student class as per your requirement. Now let's go and let's generate getter setter methods to access these private fields. Right click, source, and generate getter setters, select all and hit generate button here. Now we are going to create a parameterized constructor. Right click, source, and generate constructor using fields, deselect id here and click on generate. So whenever you create a parameterized constructor, then make sure that you will also create a default constructor, because Hibernate internally uses proxies to create objects dynamically and it needs a default constructor. So whenever you create a parameter constructor, make sure that you will also create a default constructor in JPA entity. Okay, so now look at here, student is a simple Java class. So let's make this simple Java class as a JPA entity by using JPA annotations, that is at entity JPA annotation, and then we are going to map this entity to database table. So for that we are going to use add table annotation here just to provide a table related details. So let's provide a table name here. So table name in our case students. Now we need to add a primary key for this table. So for that we want to use @id annotation from javax.persistence package, and we are going to also use primary key generation strategy here. So in order to provide a primary key generation strategy, we are going to use at generated value annotation here, and it has a strategy attribute, and we can specify primary key generation strategy here. Okay, so we are going to use identity as a primary key generation strategy. Alright, perfect. Now what we're going to do is we're going to map a column name for these fields. In order to do that, we're going to use add column annotation. So add column annotation has attribute called name, and we can use a name to specify column name here, post underscore name, and you can define this column as a not null by using nullable attribute. Nullable equals to false. Similarly, let's add a column annotation for last name as well. Name equals to last underscore name. Similarly, let's add for email. Name equals to email. Okay, great. So just remember, if you don't add table annotation to JPA entity class, then JPA is not enough to provide a table name as name of the class, and if you don't add column annotation to map a column name, then JPA is not enough to provide a column name as a field name. Okay, for example, if you don't add column annotation to first name field, then JPA will give a column name as the name of the field like this. All right, perfect. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create a JPA repository. So go ahead and right click on repository package and then choose interface, and just give interface name as student repository. Hit enter, and let's extend this interface from JPA repository. So look at here, JPA repository has two parameters. First parameter is the type of the JPA entity. So in our case, we have a student JPA entity, and second parameter is type of the primary key. Okay, just remember JPA repository has two parameters. First is the type of the JPA entity, and second is the type of the primary key. Alright, so if you go inside a student class, you can see here the type of the primary key, that is ID, is long, and that long data type we have specified here as a second argument. Okay, great. Now we don't have to add repository annotation on top of student repository interface, because this JPA repository interface has a default implementation class, that is simple JPA repository. Okay, simple JPA repository is the implementation class of JPA repository, and if you go inside a simple JPA repository, this class already annotated with add repository annotation. Hence we don't have to add again add repository annotation on top of student repository interface. So just remember these points. Sometime beginner might confuse and add repository annotation here. Actually we don't have to add repository annotation to student repository or any other repository that you create, because JPA repository already take care of it. Like a simple JPA repository is the default implementation class of JPA repository interface, right? And it has already annotated with add repository annotation. And again, one more important point is JPA repository interface by default provides a transaction for all its methods. For example, simple JPA repository is a default implementation class of JPA interface, right? JPA repository interface, and it has annotated with add transactional annotation. And if you can see its method, all the methods are by default transaction, because look at here, add transactional annotations are added to all its public methods. It means that JPA repository by default provides transactional to all its methods. Hence we don't have to again add transactional annotation in a service layer. Okay, great. Now let's go ahead and let's create a service layer. So just go to service package, right click on it, new, and then choose a interface, and let's give interface name as student service. Okay, and we're gonna create a one more package within a service package, and let's name it as IMPL. So typically to we use a dependency injection, that is Spring provided dependency injection, and in order to loose couple all the dependencies, we're going to use interface, and we create a class to implement an interface. So for that basically we use naming conventions in a package, like IMPL is for implementation classes. That's why I have created IMPL package here. So go ahead and create a class, right click on IMPL package, new, and then choose a class here, and just give class name as student service IMPL. So this is the naming convention typically we use to name to the class, and this class implements student service interface. Okay, great. Alright, so one more step is we need to create a student controller. Right click on controller package, new, and then choose class, and let's give class name as student controller and hit enter, and let's annotate this class with add controller annotation. Okay, great. So we add controller annotation to this class because we need to make this class as a Spring MVC class to handle the requests, right? Now if you see here, our base is ready. Okay, our base is ready. Now we are going to create features for our student management system.